Healthcare and senior care is fraught with problems and challenges, but we're also seeing some amazing new clinical treatments and resources. This show will help illuminate and uncover the good, bad, the ugly in order to equip patients, families, and other healthcare providers. Welcome to Senior Care Confidential.
Hey, Joe.
Hello, Brian.
So it's Tuesday.
I know.
Which means it ends in a Y, which means today, even more seniors are being scammed. And so that's the point of our talk today. So Melissa George is a friend of ours, and she and I were talking last week about she's seeing more and more of these scam artists, and she's got some wild stories to share. And so we figured this would be a good opportunity to have her on the show and kind of share with her or with us in the audience what kind of things she's seeing out in the marketplace, because some of the stuff she's seeing is incredible.
And this topic is so near and dear to my heart. I see it every day too, and this is so valuable. So thank you, Melissa, for being on our show today and talking about something so important.
Thank you for letting me just as a brief intro for Melissa, she is a nurse practitioner, an adult gerontological nurse practitioner, right? With RC, which is a palliative care and supportive care practice that we utilize quite regularly here. Is just a great wealth of information. And so we figured this would be an awesome time to have her back on to go over some of this fraud stuff that she's seeing.
Awesome.
So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
So what are some of the things that you are seeing recently that were like, wow, because you actually had a PowerPoint presentation all ready to go before we even talked. Yeah. So clearly this is something you're seeing a lot of.
Absolutely. So I've seen a lot of patients that have been taken advantage of, a lot of monies out of bank accounts, a lot of really sad stories. Yeah. So it's been pretty wild. So I just kind of put it all together so that way we could talk about it today.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. All right, let's get started.
Awesome. All right. So we have senior scams and protecting those you love from them. So today we're just going to talk about some of the scams that I see here in North Texas, how you can protect your loved ones or even yourself, how to monitor for scams, what to do when you've been scammed, and kind of some final tips to go with.
Great.
So as we know, and we've talked about this a little bit before this, is vulnerability increases with age. So among adults 50 to 80 in the past 2 years, 75% had scam attempt online by phone, text, email, or mail, which is crazy. 75%. I mean, I mean, some of our families have been impacted by this.
3 out of 4.
Yeah, it's crazy. And out of that 75%, only 30% reported.
That's still really high.
Well, they're embarrassed. Yeah. If they recognize, I screwed up, do they want to let their kids know? No. They don't want to tell their family. Yeah. So I could see why they'd keep it quiet.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Absolutely.
Just out of embarrassment.
So there was some, I tried to pull some fraud statistics, particularly for seniors before the show. And the latest I could find was from 2020. And they said that over $3 billion in 2020 alone was for seniors being scammed. And that was up $1.5 billion from the year prior to. So you're just seeing this dramatic increase in focusing of these fraudsters on seniors.
Yeah, it's absurd.
Yeah,
definitely. So we'll start off with one of the first ones. So you or your loved one did not win the Publishers Clearinghouse contest. So I had a patient that was sitting in his garage with the garage open, waiting for his blue sports car that the Publishers Clearinghouse was going to come and deliver to him at home because he won. It took his daughter coming over to his house, calling the real Publishers Clearinghouse, and they were like, no, this is a scam. And then she called the guy back from the number he was calling from and was like, we know you're a scam. They reported it to police, but had his daughter not been there, what would happen? Like, would the guy have come and mugged him or stolen stuff? Man. Like, would he be on the news because of who knows? You know what
I think? If it were me, I would have had the whole neighborhood come over, have him on video, have the news be there.
Right.
And then really who got the scam with the police.
But this person legitimately thought that he'd won the Publishers
Clearinghouse. He's literally sitting in the garage waiting for his new car.
Yeah. A blue one, sports car. Yeah. So rule number 1, don't give out your personal information.
Including your address.
Including your address.
Come by.
That's a real deal. Yeah, that's scary. And then
how do you know if something, say it's a pharmacy needing to deliver and wants to maybe clarify an address? You know, how does a senior know?
I would say the same thing that we do, right? So I get stuff as a business owner. I get stuff from the IRS all the time, right? It's not really the IRS, and they'll say, "We don't email you, we don't call you," right? So I always call their main line back and go, "Hey, I got this notice," and they go, "Nope, disregard it. It's fraud." So so in the pharmacy scenario that you painted, if you're calling your pharmacy, then that's a way to verify it. Don't click on the link in the email. Don't do any of that stuff. Call them or send a direct email from your contacts.
Yeah.
So here's another story. The banker will never come to your house to collect a past due credit card payment. And I know to some of you, this seems like ridiculous and kind of outlandish. However, going back again to vulnerability increases with age, if you think you're late on a credit card payment and the banker's going to come and get it so that way you don't have legal proceedings against you, then you're going to let the banker come because you don't want to be late on your payment.
That's just, to me, that's just brazen. Like this goes beyond like a phone call.
Times.
This is like, we're literally going to come to these poor folks' house.
Yeah.
Can you imagine like how you sleep at night?
You're going to look somebody in the eye and take the money from them.
I know.
It's
evil.
Horrible.
Just evil.
It is.
Yeah. So don't give out your address, just like we said before. Super important. Don't give out your address. Here's another one. We were kind of talking about this with the IRS. Medicare will not call you. So I had a patient 2 weeks ago, got a call because there's this brand new genetic test and it's amazing and awesome and Medicare wants you to do it. At the end of the conversation, he had no idea why they wanted him to do it or what it was genetic testing. And so his daughter came in at the end and basically took over, got information, called Medicare, and they were like, no, it's a scam. And if you told them yes, they would have sent you a test kit for you to like spit in or swab your cheek or whatever, and you send it back. And then they can bill Medicare.
Here's the thing I don't understand. Like, we can't solicit for patients, right? It has to come through a referral or word of mouth or whatever. I can't pick up the phone and call patients and go, hey, would you like for us to come out and work with you? That's illegal. So I don't understand how the genetic testing can do it. Honestly, I don't understand how Medicare Advantage plans are able to call and solicit. Like, I don't understand any of that stuff. Like,
see, I didn't think they're supposed to either, but they do. And I've been at patients where the phone does not stop ringing. It's Medicare.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sad.
Yeah. So Medicare, if you go to their website, remember Medicare is never going to call you. The IRS is never going to call you. So the Medicare website here says, protect your Medicare number, kind of like it's your social security number. Like, don't give it out to just anybody. Mm-hmm. Protect it like it's a credit card. You're going to get this lovely little thing in the mail. I think it's every quarter that lists out line by line who has billed Medicare on your behalf.
Yep.
Look at that. Look over it. And if you see something that is crazy, then you need to call Medicare and let them know, hey, there's something fishy going on here. Like, I had a patient that got 15 braces for his back, his wrist, his knees, whatever you can brace. He had a brace sent to him, and it was all a fraud.
Oh, man.
And they got...
But that's been going on. I had a patient, it was probably back in 2005, that was in the hospital, and I had worked in a psych hospital for 3 years, and I knew one of the psychiatrists, and he got charged a daily visit from this psychiatrist. And he goes, Joe, I never saw a psychiatrist in the hospital. It was every day. He was in the hospital 21 days. Well, that psychiatrist lost his license.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it caught up with him. But, people just, desperate times, unfortunately, people do desperate things.
Absolutely.
And greed gets in the way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So here's another one. If someone requests, they're going to call you and build this relationship with you, and then they're going to be like, oh, well, you need to pay this money for whatever it is. And they want you to do it with gift cards. That's a scam. Who wants to be paid in gift cards? Nobody really, other than your grandkids at Christmas. So don't pay anybody in gift cards.
So how does this one work? They're calling you to say, hey, they're soliciting you for a gift card?
Yeah,
or they're willing to give you a gift card?
No, they're soliciting like you've won something.
Okay.
And then whenever you've won something, in order to get it, you have to pay the taxes for it. And then you have to pay in gift cards.
Okay.
Well, that's a scam. And
Gotcha.
and it's traceable. And once they've taken the money out of the gift card on the other side, you can't really get that back very easily.
Okay, so this happens in business. I don't know if it's happened at your business, but at Acapella, my HR director came into my office and she goes, how do you want those $500 gift cards? And I was like, what $500? She goes, the one you requested. You asked for 4 American Express $500 gift cards. And I was like, no, I didn't.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens
Interesting.
all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. So the one regret I have is I saw this older man in the grocery store scratching off a bunch of like the codes off of a gift card, and I didn't stop. And that still haunts me to this day because I'm almost certain he was being scammed and I didn't say anything.
Oh,
but now I know.
I had not heard that. I've heard of a lot of them, but I've not heard
But
of that.
how would, to me, even the teller, like the cashier, I don't know, maybe they need to be trained too to look for signs.
Right.
And I hope that that's happening,
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're a retailer, listen out, train your staff. Okay. So here's a fun one. You're likely not going to meet your golden bachelor or bachelorette on Facebook. However, you're going to meet a scam artist and they're going to look at your picture and see that you're older and know that you're vulnerable. And then they're going to see what you did for a career because you have that on Facebook. And then they're going to see your connections on Facebook. And then they're going to be like, oh my gosh, we have so much in common. And then you're going to fall in love with them and they're going to talk to you for hours and hours and hours on the phone. And then somebody in their life is going to get sick, or they're going to need to travel somewhere and they need just a little bit of money to help. And then you're going to send them money, a little bit and a little bit and a little bit more. And then by the end of it, you have no money. So
I think they made a movie on this. Like Jennifer Love Hewitt and somebody else.
Probably.
Yes, for the same reason.
Yeah.
They attach themselves to older people. They have now we've got social media, so it's really easy to do all the background information on them.
Right.
And so they have this whole scam, and then somebody gets sick, and I need all this money, and before you know it, they're broke.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Which is just crazy. And then also another thing that you have to be careful of is people on Facebook can see who your connections are, and then they can call you and say that one of your connections needs something.
So I had this one happen to my own grandmother. So this has probably been 2 or 3 years ago. And I was treating, and my grandmother kept blowing up my cell phone. And I don't usually answer, phone numbers I don't know during the day, especially if I'm working with a patient, because I'm there with them. But this number kept calling, and it was from Ocala, Florida. I'm like, what in the world? And so I pick it up, and it's my grandma. And you could tell, instantly flustered. And she's like, Brian? I was like, yes. And she said, where are you? And I was like, I'm in Dallas. It's like, where are you? She goes, I'm in Florida. She goes, no, really, where are you? And I said, I'm in Dallas. She goes, are you sure? I'm like, what the? I had no idea where she was going with this. And I was like, yeah, I'm in Dallas. She goes, oh my gosh. And you could tell, like, she is anxious, like she's breathing heavy. And so what ended up happening was somebody had called her, pretending to be me, because they found our link on Facebook and had said, hey, Grandma, this is Brian. I was traveling to New York City. I was here for a wedding and I got drunk at the reception and I got pulled over. I hit a telephone pole and I got pulled over. And so now they've got me in lockup and I need bail money. And fortunately for my grandmother, she was smart enough to go, I didn't think that sounded like you. She's like, she says, so I figured I would just call you and make sure.
Aww.
But but because of the social media stuff, like everyone's so connected, it is very easy to find out pertinent information. There's a whole know, like, and trust thing for sales and marketing. And if you as a scam artist can get enough information on your prospective client, if you will, you can actually come off very knowledgeable. You can come off very likable, and they feel like there's a connection because, such and such and such stuff from my past, and it starts to break down some of the normal defenses we would normally have if they just called and said, "Hey, I need $500 from you." Right? They have this whole storyline all because of social media and online activities.
Yeah, and older people love to talk on the phone. They're lonely. Mm-hmm. Like their kids are gone, they're empty nesters,
and they
maybe their
want
spouse
to feel
is
a
passed.
purpose.
Right.
They want to feel they can help somebody.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, these scam artists are tricky.
Yeah.
So my warning to you is be careful of your profile picture on social media and what else you put on social media. So if you put a picture and you're older, they're going to automatically know you're older. It automatically kind of makes you a target because older people are more vulnerable.
Yeah.
So you just have to be cautious what you put on social media.
They did do some studies on. They broke out. I think it was from the FBI. They broke out like the dollar figures by age group, like of how much they were defrauded. Because you mentioned earlier that it was like 75% of us have been attempted to be defrauded. So on the age groups, they said those in the 20s, so 20 to 29. Lost an average of $550 roughly. For 60 to 69, that number jumped to $660. From 70 to 79, the median loss was $1,000. And get this, over the age of 80, it was $1,674. So between like your 20s to your 80s, it was a threefold increase in the number of dollars that they were scammed from.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's just because they're, cognitive issues or loneliness issues or whatever, insert your variable. They seem to be more susceptible to some of these scamsters. And honestly, I think some of it's just we trust too much.
So let me ask you this, Melissa, just from a patient perspective. Say somebody is diabetic and they're going to get a call. Hey, I understand you're diabetic and want to see if you need any supplies.
Oh, yeah.
So is that a scam?
Yes.
Okay. So they should not be soliciting.
No. So are there some trustworthy companies? Yes, absolutely there are. Are there some untrustworthy companies? Absolutely, yes, there are. So I always say direct it through your PCP, direct it through your provider, and have them refer you out to different places. Yep. So you just have to be really careful because they're going to get your Medicare number, and we're not supposed to give that out.
And if you're needing those Medicare supplies, those diabetic supplies, and somebody's already billing under your number, and you're not collecting those supplies, now
you can't get them.
You can't get them.
Yeah, it's cash pay.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah. It's very unfortunate.
It's so sad. And can you reverse it? If somebody is scammed and their adult daughter or their nurse navigator figures, or steps in, is there any way to reverse that?
There's phone numbers within the Medicare system that allow us to call them and report some things for shit. For that stuff, yeah. The other stuff, I'm sure to go through some tips or whatever.
So it's actually next. So there is a National Elder Fraud Helpline.
Wow, that's great to know.
And there's actually an Elder Justice Project, I believe, through the government that actually has a lot of information about fraud and what to do.
Okay.
So this is a number that you can call. Per their website, have I called them? No. Per their website, they will assign you a caseworker. And then that caseworker will be in touch with you and help you get whatever.
Okay.
They'll kind of guide you on who to report to, who not to report to.
So for those not being able to see the screen, that phone number is 1-833-FRAUD-11 or 1-833-372-8311.
Yeah, correct. And then also, you need to alert your financial institutions and you need to alert the police. So I always say, when in doubt, always report. Mm-hmm. So, and this is something that we have to be real careful with our parents and grandparents, is to ask these questions and to have these conversations. Sure. Because they are, like you said, they are embarrassed. They don't want to feel like they've been scammed. So they may not tell you. Yeah. So I have one patient that lost $60,000 that they will never get back, all because of one bad decision. And they didn't tell anybody in an appropriate amount of time. And here we are, $60,000 less in retirement. And my big thing is, in retirement, I want you to enjoy what you retire to do, like enjoy life.
Right.
Don't be frauded or defrauded. Don't pay all sorts of things you shouldn't have to pay. Yep. So here's how to protect yourself and your loved ones. So preemptively, you can sign yourself or your loved ones up for an identity theft protection service. Mm-hmm. There are a few of them that exist. I think LifeLock has one by Norton, Xander. There's a couple of different ones.
We've got LifeLock.
Yeah.
And you get, and we,
like
somebody tries to use my credit card. I had it in my purse, but anyway, so they canceled my credit card.
Right.
Yeah.
And they sent me a new one, but those are great services and they're not very expensive.
No. Yeah. And so you can also put a lock on your credit.
Yes.
So there are all of these credit reporting bureaus, and each of them has a way that you can lock. If you go through an identity theft protection service like Norton, you can lock through them, or you can go to each of the websites.
Okay.
So as a palliative care nurse practitioner, we kind of look at patients, everything combined. Yep. And one of the things is I tell my patients' families to run a credit report. So you can get free ones done. You have to go to the right website because there are scam websites trying to get you to do these free credit reports. But if you go to the website that's listed,
If free is spelled with one E, it's probably not legit.
Exactly. So you can get those, and that way that'll let you know what accounts your loved ones have open or that you have open.
Wow.
And then one of the things that's pretty creative that one of my patients' families has done, because there has been a lot of phone calls and money given away, is they have a secured debit card. And so they only have X amount of dollars already prepaid onto this card.
Okay.
So their loved one still has a card, still feels like they have independence, still feels like they can go about and shop and do whatever, but there's only X amount of dollars in the account. So
Does it get replenished once a month or something?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So should they get defrauded, there's only X amount of dollars that can be lost.
That's smart. Yeah.
So there's a couple of different companies, or even your bank that will do that.
That's good.
So something to think about.
Yep.
Other ways to protect. So like you said, you're at somebody's house and they get 17 calls while you're there. So you can join the National Do Not Call list. Does that work 100% of the time? No.
Does it work on cell phones?
Yeah.
It does.
Supposed to.
Okay.
Yeah. I have it on mine. But nowadays there are apps on your cell phone that like robo-killer apps.
Okay.
So it'll actually filter for you. So it'll go there, leave a message. And if you want to listen to the message, you can listen to it later.
Got it. Okay.
So there's that. There's a couple of different articles about that. And then another way to stop unwanted phone calls is don't give your phone number out, right? But unfortunately, there's been a lot of data leaks in the world, and there's a lot of numbers out on the dark web or what have you. And then another thing too. So here in front of me, all of
I
these
thought you were
here.
delivering mail today.
Yeah, no.
I know. I did too. I was like, why is she bringing her own mail?
All of this here is 2 weeks worth of junk mail from one of my patients. 2 weeks,
Just
14
one
days.
patient.
One patient. And this is what they got in 14 days.
Golly.
Isn't that crazy? So how they got this is they decided, well, I want to be charitable and I'm going to donate $5 to this one person. And then they must have like a name sharing party. Yeah. And now everybody wants $5. So we're like feeding the hungry everywhere. And we're doing all sorts of stuff all over the world. And this is what happens. You get all of this mail. And then you feel more compelled, oh, I'm helping somebody. So then you donate more and more money. And if you look like at the background of a lot of these companies.
Now you're on the list 3 times because now you've given it 3 more. So they're like, oh,
absolutely.
They probably have money. They can send more.
Well, I have a story. I had a patient that got a call from Toys for Toddlers. Not Toys for Tots, Toys for Toddlers. And she gave them $3,000. And the kids got the credit card bill. And anyway, hired me to help, and so one of the things was she loved to talk on the phone and she was happy to give. She was a giver, and so if they do have a phone, for family members to really watch those calls that are coming in, check their cell phones.
Well, and there is a way on most cell phones that you can let it only contacts ring. And everybody else goes to voicemail. So whoever's in the contacts rings, but the rest will go to voicemail. So there are some protections that exist these days. So things to look into. And definitely as all of the baby boomers age up and we have more seniors that need protection, more of this stuff is going to be out. There's going to be more options in the world. It's just having conversations like this to make sure everybody knows and is aware. Let's talk phones like we are. So don't trust your caller ID. The world is a technological world. They can say they're whoever. I mean, you could have the White House calling, you could have the IRS calling, and it's not. They're not going to call you, but it looks like it. Yeah. So just the kind of stuff that we've talked about. You can report unwanted phone calls to donotcall.gov. That's through the Federal Trade Commission. And what they do with it, I don't really know, but you can
They
at
get
least
enough,
report
if
it.
they get
It
enough
goes into-
complaints, maybe they get a phone call.
Maybe. I
Who
don't know.
knows?
Maybe they just call them on repeat like they're
Oh my
doing to everybody
gosh.
else. And then here's some legal stuff to think about. So it's always important that you have your legal affairs in order and that you make sure your older loved ones do too. So I cannot even tell you how many patients, if I admit 5 or 6 patients in a week, 3 of them have a will. So not all of them do. So
Yeah.
you need to have legal stuff in order. You
Yeah.
need to have a financial power of attorney. You need to have a medical power of attorney. All of that can be done with an elder law attorney. There's a lot of them in the world that exist. So it's very important to have that in order and to know where it's kept. So I have a lot of patients that may have passed on and they're like, we have no idea where it is. So making sure that you know where different documents are kept at your loved ones' homes, or
Yep.
letting your children know where you keep certain documents.
Sure.
And then also, because it is April 16th was Annual Healthcare Decisions Day. There's a lovely website through 5 Wishes where you can go in and do advanced directives, where you designate different, like a power of attorney. You say what you do or don't want as you're unable to make some of your own decisions. It is not quite a legal document in Texas yet, but it's moving towards that. So this is my shameless plug to go and do 5 Wishes and do advanced care, like advanced directives. So
That's awesome.
No, I love
There's
that.
also the Conversation Project, and it's a step-by-step, line by line. You have a conversation with your parents or your loved one, and it tells you what to say. Mom, if you weren't able to care for yourself, what are your wishes? It's interesting that I know you've got an 11-year-old. I'm sure you're already planning for college, saving for college, talking about why the importance of good grades. Why do we not do that with our seniors?
exactly.
We all are going to get older. We're all going to need care. We're all going to be in that Medicare system one day. So why not pre-plan?
Right.
It's so important, and most people don't.
Right. And nurse navigators come in and they're super important because you come in and you fix things. You come up with these solutions and you walk, I can give you a list of things to do, but you walk with them as they progress through that list, which is amazing.
Well, and
Phenomenal.
most of the clients that we get it's really more reactive. It's not a planned,
Correct.
Right.
We step in when there's a crisis, but that's okay because
That's usually when something's alerted, right? That's when the light on the dashboard is going off. Like, whoa, I guess I need to get something.
Check engine.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Pull over the car now.
Yeah.
I need
Yeah.
Joe.
Yeah. But being a nurse navigator, this kind of stuff this is what we do every day. And it's so sad. I'm so glad that we're talking about this because it is such an issue. And, our seniors, adult children have that conversation with mom and dad.
Yeah.
It's so important. It's imperative.
Yeah.
I
I didn't realize it was happening. I mean, it's happened to my own family. I did not realize it was happening. What was the statistic? 75%
Yeah.
of Americans have been defrauded in some way.
Which is crazy.
Jeez Louise, yeah.
I know.
It's a lot. And so as you get older, you tend to be more vulnerable. I think part of it is you're more vulnerable. I think part of it is there are unscrupulous actors out there who are specifically targeting this demographic.
They
So
are
some of that
trained. They are, they are trained to get to that personal, we're buddy, you can trust me. They know the questions to ask. They've got the information. So we've got to protect these people.
And if they spend hours with you on the phone and you get $500 in a day, they're
going to try again.
they're going to keep going for it. So you just have to protect those that you
That's
love.
right. Well, thank you so much for coming over and helping us with this and educating. I learned a ton of stuff today that I had no idea you could be offered a blue sports car through Publishers Clearinghouse. Jeez Louise.
Yeah. Protect those
Amazing.
in your life.
All right. Thanks again.
Awesome.
Great
Thank
to
you,
have you over.
Melissa.
Yeah, it's good to
Great
have you.
information.
Thank you.
If somebody wants, I know you are a nurse practitioner, you do house calls. We utilize your care a lot because you are fantastic. I just have to plug you. You're my favorite nurse practitioner
Hooray.
that works with geriatrics.
Thank you.
You do a great job. How can someone get in touch with you?
So I work with RC Healthcare, so RC Supportive Care. Our phone number is going to be probably in the show notes. And you can also find us online at rchc.com. supportivecare.com.
There you go.
And that will lead you to the supportive care website.
Very good.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thanks, and
Thank
have a
you
blessed
again.
day.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you.
Awesome.